and welcome to the Flickering Torch podcast. This is Mr. Dead Scott.
And Smite.
And we're back, surprisingly. I know you guys are all hoping for our defeat, but we're back. We're like herpes. We're not going anywhere. So we're going to be talking about co-op or cooperation style games. And I know what you're thinking, co-op, and I'm going to define it, because at least I remember this. I remember co-op is where, I'm the hero. I kick ass. I do all the hard work. I get all the credit. I do all the lifting. And there's people behind me that make it all possible, but I give them no credit whatsoever. And I am the winner, right?
Exactly. That's exactly.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. God, that's all I remember. Yeah. So I didn't want to Google this.
So actual definition or description of cooperation would be where one or two individuals or more are working together to complete a task or objective, goal, however you want to do it. It could be via LAN connection, local connection using the same keyboard, mouse,
TV,
or TV, or online nowadays, since online multiplayer is so popular. But basically, cooperation is you're just working together to get something done. And it fits loosely in today. There's not as much heavy co-op as old school. Like the nostalgia of like old arcade games, like Double Dragon. That's co-op.
Smash TV.
I love Smash TV.
Yeah, I can't. I love Smash TV too. It's always the first go-to.
Big money, big prizes. I love it.
I remember what else is a good co-op in arcade style. Usually like the Ninja Turtle beat 'em ups.
I love the Ninja Turtle ones. Those always kicked my butt, though.
Turtles in Time was a lot of fun.
I didn't try that one.
Oh, that was great. It was. I don't know how accurate it was to the Turtles and actually the comics with the Turtles, but it was definitely fun.
Mario, I'd say, for an old school example, I would say loosely is co-op because
I can see that,
because you have the 1 and 2 player and you're both trying to get the objective, but you're doing it at a different time.
Yeah, like Super Mario 3 is probably a good example of that, because you're both working through the world to rescue Peach, because for some strange reason she just loves to be kidnapped.
Yeah.
And you guys can fight me on that, but whatever. And you work together through it. You're not together at the same time, which we did see, more of a shift in that in certain games. But it is a cooperation aspect in some aspect. And then, of course, we can talk about MMOs as well, or massive multiplayer online, usually RPGs. There are MMO FPSs. They're not very common, but they do exist. Like PlanetSide was a great example of that.
Yeah.
PlanetSide 2, that was very cooperative, because you had people specializing in certain things, and those specializations actually were necessary to achieve said objective, which back then it was just taking over a base and ruling that continent.
Yeah.
Which, what else?
But the cooperation with MMOs is kind of plagued by a lot of players and lack of actual teamwork. So MMOs kind of get the loose term of co-op, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're only working towards the goal for your own benefit when you're usually in such a large team, like Battlefield or something like that. Mm-hmm. I would say an MMO that kind of fits better would be like World of Warcraft, because raid groups, you guys group up to take on bosses.
Yeah, even in raid groups, you could argue too that it is still somewhat selfish in one form or another, because I remember joining raid groups in other MMOs, and I want that piece of gear, I want that loot.
Yeah,
I need it.
So
I needs it.
Your goals or your objective is different, but you both have to complete the task to get to your goal.
You got to work together.
So, yeah, it's another.
It's a weird kind of situation, a weird kind of scenario for it. And it, ultimately, yes, if we break down everything from a societal standpoint and a personal standpoint, yeah, we're all greedy motherfuckers.
Yeah,
that's just how it goes.
So, a good one, like I said, is Battlefield. That's a massively multiplayer game, and you're in a team, but it doesn't make you cooperative, because a lot of people are worried about kill-death ratio or doing stunts and stuff, and yet don't work towards the objective. So, in a sense, yes, it's cooperative because you're on a team and you benefit a team, but
I don't understand bragging rights on K to D when your team still loses the match.
Yeah.
Yay, personal accomplishment. You still suck.
Yeah.
yeah, that's my one thing on that is just seeing people behave that way. And I'm like, okay, it's good to be proud of what you've done, but at the same time, don't be a dick.
Internet. It's just the internet.
Yes. Oh, the internet.
Everyone who's access to the internet knows, experiences that.
I think Penny Arcade had a really good, this was years and years ago they made this. They made the theorem of why people on the internet are complete assholes. And it nailed it perfectly. I encourage you guys, if you haven't found it, go look for that comic. It's a 3-panel strip and it fits it beautifully.
I love Penny Arcade.
I think it's called like the Jonathan Gabriel internet explanation or something like that, and it just nails it dead on. Sadly, it nails it. And yes, we've all fallen guilty of that. I've been a dick online. Oh, yeah. But that's not what we're talking about. We're going to talk about something else.
Yeah. So let's jump into the nostalgia of co-op.
Ooh, nostalgia.
The reason why we bring up nostalgia is because I think it was more present, more strongly present in the past than it is now. Because, like I said, co-op is so loosely used within today's multiplayer games, whereas back then you had one or two you had the two controllers, so you get either position 1 or position 2, and you had to work towards that goal.
Yep.
Unlike Mortal Kombat, which is a fighting game, totally different.
This is back in the days of pre-internet. This is back in the days of split screens where your friend would accuse you of cheating because how could you not look at the other screen?
Yeah. Your eyes are naturally drawn.
Yes, where people would actually put cardboard up as dividers, which I remember when we were playing the original Halo on Xbox.
Yeah, that's the best example.
This is the best example of it, where we had a group of 16 guys. We all hooked up like Xboxes together in our quote linked positions, and then someone developed a freaking cardboard cross that blocked off each section of and we're all like hunkering close to our section of the tiniest little screen on a 20-inch television.
Yep.
Attempting to kick ass in the process. Usually getting a grenade or getting stuck in somewhere, but good old split screens.
Yeah. And so Halo is that one's that uses the same console conditions as like old co-op games, but that one's not necessarily co-op as well.
It's very loosely co-op because yes, it does give you a split screen. Yes, it does let you play with another character in the same room with you. However, the story doesn't change aside from you see a mirror image of yourself for some reason. It doesn't treat it as there's two people.
Campaign is co-op.
Yeah. Sorry.
Multiplayer
very different.
Is different. I say FPSs are loosely termed. Single player campaigns are strongly co-op. But that is a good one. I loved Halo. I spent a lot of hours. I'd say actually a shooter game that does co-op well is Gears of War because it's
the campaign co-op they did was a lot of fun. I remember with my my embalming professors. And his brother and another friend and I would play Gears campaign together, and it really heavily like worked as a team, like on insanity mode.
Yeah, insanity.
Like we did it. It took us 3 months, but we did it.
That is a brutal grind.
That final boss was absolute pure hell.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
So, I mean, if you look back at any old console game before the internets existed on consoles, you'll find...
but smite this, I'm too young to remember before the internet.
Right. You'll get a slew of co-op games. And I don't know about you, but I kind of miss that in a sense. I mean, another good example would be like Don't Starve.
Oh, yeah.
But...
Well, Don't Starve Together.
Yeah, Don't Starve Together. Sorry.
It's a separate game.
Because that one's a survival, but it's not RPG-esque, but it's very... How do I describe it?
Don't Start Together would be classified, I think, as pure survival.
Yeah.
It's not platforming. It has light combat at best.
Don't fight.
Don't fight anything. You're going to die. It does have a very good tree system for upgrades, builds, ways to survive and make things better.
Yeah.
I'd call it probably more of like a puzzle / exploration game with light combat mechanics.
Yeah.
But you and I have played tons of that and Don't Starve Together, and guess what, folks? We die a lot.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad.
That hands down is like great example of pure co-op though.
Oh yeah, and it builds great team building too because we were assigning different roles to everybody playing.
And no one complained about their roles.
Oh no, it's all good. Like, we need water.
Who's the poop picker upper today?
Yeah,
like got it. I'll be the poop picker upper. You know.
You took that job a lot from what I remember.
Yeah. It was a shitty job, but I.
Jar. Bad pun, Jar.
Come on, it was.
Oh my gosh. Oh. What else? What else fits good into that? Like, you know, like I remember we were talking about this before we started recording. RPGs in general don't really fit very well into a good co-op. There were a couple good examples of that I remember playing as a kid. Like, for example, there was Secret of Mana, which I'm sure many of you, at least in my age group, your ears perked up a little bit. And so, like, Secret of Mana, you may remember on the Super Nintendo that you could plug in a second controller. And you could actually control one of the 3 playable characters, which would normally just be on auto mode, and they just be like, I swing my sword at something, and, you know, whereas, like, these characters have the potential to, like, cast ungodly high damaging spells or cure the group in a moment of, oh shit.
Old school AI.
Oh, yeah.
Just blame it on that.
And so it was really cool to see, you know, like, something that was normally seen as a single player only have that opportunity to have co-op. And I know Secret of Evermore, noticing a trend here, also had that, but it was limited to just 2 people as opposed to 3. Now, I don't remember in the Super Nintendo if they ever made an expansion port where you could control 3 people. I can't remember, honestly, the more I'm thinking about it and talking about it. But that was really cool to see something like that, where it was a little bit ahead of its time.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like, it actually gave you an opportunity to invite someone in and share an RPG experience with you, which this isn't just, you know, like a simple goal-oriented thing you can knock out in like 45 minutes to an hour. This was a multi-hour, almost probably...
It's a campaign.
Yeah, it's a campaign. It's like a 20-hour campaign, depending on how fast you play or pay attention to the dialogue.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Yeah. I think it's sad, like, you say RPGs are not good for co-op. I think the problem is people don't build RPGs as a co-op game. There's plenty of RPGs I would love to have co-op experience in, but they don't exist. You know, and I think it's sad. It's like I would love to experience this with a person, or, you know, do the trials with that, but it doesn't exist. Now that I think about it, actual Devil May Cry, like the first one, that'd be great with a second person.
Oh god, that'd be so nice.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know why that popped in my head, but that would have been amazing.
Because that game's hard, and having a second decoy would be great.
But like, if you take like an RPG and then turn it into an MMO, like the Elder Scrolls series, I thought Oblivion would have been absolutely amazing if you could have just a second person roaming around the world, doing, you know, the main quest line, or just doing whatever, but cooperating. Because I mean, who needs PvP in an RPG like that? You don't.
And it kind of harkens back. Like, that'd be great. Well, let's just face it, that'd be freaking awesome. And you're right. I don't think RPGs are mainly built very well to give that co-op experience, mainly because RPGs have, by definition, had a history and a trend of just being, you know, single player kind of event where you could enjoy the story at your pace and your own enrichment. It'd be great to see a drop-in option. I think for co-op, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun. But back to my original statement that I'm tangenting off of, like, it's so funny because if we look at an RPG, a role-playing game, and we look at it in a video game aspect, it's so funny because it's a group of people together with different roles, different skill sets, different, you know, characteristics, opinions, things like that. And if we look back on D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, you know, actual tabletop RPGs,
good luck playing it by yourself.
You can't play that by yourself. Like, it's either you have multiple voices in your head, which there's nothing wrong with that, just maybe seek some medical attention, you know, professional help, or, you know, there's no fun whatsoever, so you do it with a group of people.
Yeah.
And so it's a co-op experience. I know we're trying to get our own D&D group back up again, which I'm half tempted to record our first session where I'm going to be the GM for the first time, and I'm absolutely petrified.
You'll do great.
I'm still scared.
We'll slaughter you.
Yeah, you'll kill me.
Yeah, exactly. I think, actually, another thing about it is Dragon Age is a great one because you have a group, at least the first one. I haven't played the ones after.
I haven't played any of them, so.
So you have a group of people you control, and you have to swap between them to handle. You can set up like auto-assign to do this at certain levels. Annoying crap to do, especially when you swap characters out. I always hated that. But it's like, why not have someone else hop in there to take over that character. You can keep it RPG. You pass items to those bloody characters anyways, and you manage 3 people's inventory and stuff like that. So why can't a second person ever join in? You know how great it would be just to go through a story or an experience with another person.
It'd be awesome. I mean, and I think that's just maybe developers just being fearful. Like, hey, we know what works. We know what works for this market. Like, why fuck it up?
Yeah. Well, the only thing you see co-op anymore is arcade style. I mean, the original of the Nintendo was mainly arcade style games because of just to do the technical restrictions.
Well, yeah, and it was taking an arcade style game and bringing it into the home. Because I mean, like, we've already named off a couple, like so River City Riot, the Ninja Turtle fight 'em up games.
Any fighter game.
Yeah, pretty much any fighter game, Smash TV, and so let's look at it now too. So like, I remember Scott Pilgrim vs. the World did a homage to old beat 'em ups. Where on, like, I think it was Xbox 360, we could all sit around with 4 different controllers and play all the different characters.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It was really cool.
Yeah.
I remember sitting with a group of friends enjoying the hell out of that, and I would actually bring over my avatar on the Microsoft approved flash disk to make sure I got credit for the stuff I did.
Yeah.
See,
that's cool. I miss that old stuff too.
Yeah.
Like that.
And so nowadays, like, you see a lot of indie developers taking advantage of that because it is bringing back to that nostalgia, that wonderful feeling of like, oh, dude, I remember sitting on the couch with my buddy and like, like we're butting elbows, like, because, like, oh, I gotta get that pizza slice before he does, so my character's gonna die, and my brother's a dick and he always gets it first because he's not gonna need the health. Sorry, little flashback there. But it's so cool to see like new people try to do those kind of old school techniques and mechanics. Yeah. Because the older gamer generation isn't afraid to go back to that. And then it gives the newer generation a great way to do that. I'd probably say, like, the more I'm thinking about it, the Lego games are a good example of co-op. Yeah. Like, you have multiple players that can be introduced into the same thing. If you get too far, it becomes a split screen situation. If you get too close, you share the screen. And a great way to get younger children into cooperative team building kind of things as well. I know I've talked about that before, but it's just perfect for this scenario.
It's a good idea. It's an actual subtle piece to gaming that I didn't think about before. That's actually a brilliant piece of work. Is, bringing children within the Lego games as teamwork. Great co-op.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know I've convinced my fiance a couple times to hop in playing a Lego game with me, which she thinks is fun to torment me while I'm trying to get all the pieces and things like that. And I should have seen it coming, but
I wish a lot more games today introduced co-op in that manner. Yeah, indie games really seem to hone in on co-op a lot more than AAA. I would love to see a good AAA game do an RPG co-op. I mean, I challenge any AAA industry.
Any of you that are listening.
Yeah. It's something that's overdue and long needed.
And the sad thing is like, I'm sure somebody's tried something like that, but I cannot think of a single example to prove otherwise. Like, for the life of me, I'm baffled to even think of one example to give anybody on that.
They're all old school. Like, even like the PlayStation 2, like Champions of Wrath. I mean, that's old still if you think about it.
I haven't even heard of that.
Really?
Yeah.
It's an old school, just fantasy RPG style. Kind of hop in at any time. Kind of like arcade-ish style. But it's still RPG.
Yeah. I mean, I think like developers nowadays have moved, like, from what we're requesting, like a AAA game status, they've moved that into MMOs. Yeah. And it's just,
it's a shame.
It's not the same, like it is and it isn't at the same time. Like, it has that same feel, but it doesn't have that exact same feel, if that makes any sense.
Depth, I would think.
Thank you.
It doesn't have like the I can't remember the exact way to be. It doesn't have that depth, that immersion that you would have if it was just like a 2-player only campaign. Yeah. Like Dungeons and Dragons, they've tried over and over and over to get a good game that's like an RPG co-op. And they ended up with the MMO, which did all right.
Yeah, it did okay.
And then they ended up with a lot of the more arcade hack slash RPGs.
Oh, like Gauntlet?
Yeah, kind of like Gauntlet. So they have those style, but a lot of co-op tends to go MMO these days, which is sad to see. I mean, I like MMOs. I just don't have the time to invest.
That's the thing, is it becomes a time investment, a time management situation, kind of.
Plus, the story is less. I don't know. I don't feel immersed in the stories when it comes to MMOs. I'm like, text, skip. You know, except Star Wars. I'll be fair. I did do that with my wife two whole campaigns, and it's very cinematic. So it felt actually like a true RPG. Yet other players existed. So
Existed is a loose term.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, that was actually an MMO I think that did RPG co-op well.
Okay.
It's rare to see that in any other game, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for new indie developers, great for people who want to kind of get their foot in the door. Co-op's such a fun experience. It's such a blast to do. Like, you know, because it reminds me of the old school days, like being in junior high and like high school. Like, yes, I was a nerd in high school, still am. Where we would just be sitting on the couch Friday night, just playing a game together where all of us either had like a wired controller of some sort. Like, I hate to use this as an example, but freaking Mario Party was kind of a co-op / competitive aspect to it, because when we realized someone was going to clearly win, we all worked together to make sure they didn't.
That's so cruel.
And it worked.
Pulled the rug out right from under him.
It's like, oh yeah, I booed your item, and you know, we purposely ganged up on you during the mini game, and really sorry, buddy, we took your stars.
Yeah, I never really got into Mario Party.
I had a phase. Yeah, it was fun.
I think what's hilarious too about developers or studios these days is everybody's like, oh, if you don't have a multiplayer, if you're not strictly a single player like campaign or like adventure storytelling game, if you're not that and your game doesn't have multiplayer, you get frowned upon. So people
frowned upon, you fail.
Like Doom, they had to outsource multiplayer, you know, and they're like, oh well, you know, this is not going to be a good game because we don't have multiplayer, and then it failed. Why not add bloody co-op as your multiplayer? Because technically it's a multiplayer. You have more than one, which makes it multiple.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you just add a co-op to like a Doom campaign, that would make it multiplayer. Right? And then you wouldn't have to worry about having crappy modes that don't even fit the game necessarily. That's a brilliant example of those. Just look at Doom. It tried to be Unreal tournament.
Yeah, I could see that.
Or Quake.
Quake.
It wasn't. Doom was never built for that. It was gory, it's hell-driven. I would actually love to play the new Doom with a co-op person. Or Wolfenstein, even.
The new Wolfenstein was fun.
I think that would be fun.
Co-op would have been helpful. And co-op games like that, too. Like, I'm trying to think if like any of the Splinter Cell games had co-op in them. And I can't honestly remember, but...
I don't think so.
Like, it would be fun to see. I think they did, actually. Like, the first or second one did. Near the end, they went away from it, I think. And I may be wrong. You guys can correct us, of course. But, like, look at it that way from, like, a stealth aspect, like co-op. Like, you know, you have one dude, like, make a sound over here while you drop down and snap a neck.
Yeah.
Or put someone to sleep.
That would be really fun. Like, a thief would be a good benefit to that. Or even, I think, like, Deus Ex would be neat with co-op.
Yeah, Deus Ex would be interesting with co-op.
Yeah. Although you get your butt kicked, at least in the first one. I haven't played the new one.
I played the original one. I played Invisible War, and I played not the newest one, but the one before it. Mankind.
No, the Mankind Divide is the new one.
Mankind Divide is the new one. What was the one before that? Just Deus Ex?
I don't remember.
It's in my storage bin. Oh, God. Don't look at me with shame. Well, look at me with shame. It's fine.
We don't have Google pulled up.
Yeah, we're not typing up Google right now.
Yeah.
You will hear things.
So what improvements upon today's co-op can you think?
I would like to see, aside from the Lego games, which do a brilliant job of it, more couch buddy situations.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I agree. I think it'd be great to see an RPG co-op, you know, like an RPG drop in, you know, like, and it doesn't have to be like, you know, you sit through the whole campaign with somebody, but just be able to take over one of those characters that's already predefined in the story and go from there. And I think probably like a lot of live action RPGs versus turn-based RPGs have the freedom to do that.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I know Final Fantasy 15 that's coming out, the combat system isn't turn-based, it's live action. And so with that, why not?
Yeah.
Like, let one of the let Buddy take over one of the playable characters in the game. Like, obviously there's going to be some sort of like leash system, where you can't go too far without,
Yeah.
you guys both stop moving, or and most of the time, hopefully you don't have a friend who wants to play like that who's going to be a raging dick about it.
Yeah. There's plenty of games that when they detect a second player or third player or whatever, they up the difficulty.
Yeah.
I don't see the problem with that. I actually think turn-based is easier just because you have someone hop in and they just...
When you can coordinate better, you can plan an attack better, you can...
I think live action's more fun, but yeah, that's a good example of Final Fantasy because you always have a party.
Yeah, you always have a group of people. I mean, always. And like, I'd like to see more games like Don't Starve.
Yeah.
Not that exact same premise, but I know I think we are seeing a little bit. Like, you're playing Starbound?
Yeah. That's a good co-op, actually. Because, I mean, you have goals and quests, and you got to collect resources, and it's all about, building yourself, but you have to build your base, and you definitely share resources, because that game totally kicks your ass when you go to, like, planets are way above you. So that is actually a really good co-op. It's not so much survival, it's more of just exploration, building type of game. But you share resources, no chests are locked, there's, no PvP with other players. Join in, join out, build your base. So that's a good co-op one today. But that's an indie. That's
Yeah, it's a total underground hit.
Yeah. Back to indie games. I think an improvement to RPGs would be, like I was mentioning earlier, Elder Scrolls. If someone jumps in for the first time, give them just starting gear. And you guys can get loot and share loot or whatever, or have their own separate loot in chests and items like that. But if that player leaves, the campaign could continue, in that, say someone else wants to come over and play as well because you're on a certain section or whatever. They can hop in. Either they have that previous save loot, or they have another default. However you want to do it. I just think, there's no problem with sharing loot. I wouldn't mind if I had someone to come join me in an Elder Scrolls game. I would be like, I get this crap item all the time. Here, take this until we find something cool or that fits your class because you're a wizard.
Exactly, yeah. Like that kind of lets you kind of work as a team.
Yeah.
Again, back to cooperative. To play the class, play the role you want to. Like, if you want to be the guy in the back that just pops shots with, like, magic or with arrows or something, you can have somebody who's a tank. You don't have to build your character around setting up decoys or summons or something to act as, the tank, if you will.
Because AI is so crappy. I hate in a lot of RPGs where I have to play the jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
you die.
You die. Yeah, you can't, like, a lot of them you can't survive.
Or you have to be the meat shield, or you have to be the barbarian, or you have to be the berserker, the guy.
Specific.
Yeah, like specific class role or jack of all trades.
Because I've always wanted to be, like, a cleric, heal other people in an RPG. But if you go healer class, you're just healing yourself. And you do less damage, but you can heal yourself. It's like, woo!
Yeah, I'm prolonging the fight longer than it needs to be.
Yeah, it's like, well, if I had a group like in D&D, I'm like, oh, he took a massive hit, actually am a useful healer. Take my spells. Eat them. Split screen would be an interesting, I think that actually is making a comeback.
I can see that.
I don't remember where I read it, but it is kind of making a comeback. Like I said, Gears of War is still good at doing that because it's a very story-oriented game. That didn't make me cry twice.
It's okay, I cried too.
So that's always been split screen, and I'm glad they kept that around. I don't know if Judgment, they're kind of one-off once they sold it to Microsoft.
I stopped playing after 3, so.
Yeah, so I don't know if that one was, but they've always kept split screen, and I'm glad they did, because they have single player, they have split screen co-op, they have online co-op, and then they have multiplayer. The whole package deal. And it's team-based co-op.
Yeah, and if your game's designed that way, why not encourage it that way?
Yeah.
So
that I think that's brilliant. Titles you like the most, do you think, that are cooperative?
Many old school ones. Like pretty much the ones that we named off, like Smash TV, all the hack and slash, all the beat 'em ups, Gauntlets. Like my all-time favorite that I probably go back to. Smash TV is probably the safest one.
I say Smash TV is one of my favorite.
It's just perfect, and I don't know why. It just is. It's great, and especially like playing on the old school cabinet, because I had the option of doing that in PAX East.
Oh, lucky
With a buddy of mine when we both went years ago, and like we were both kind of walking around, we're like, oh cool, like Dragon's Lair, oh cool, like this and that, like oh Turtles inside. No, Smash TV.
Yeah.
And just automatically just boom right in line.
Yeah. No.
Like given. But with the new age stuff, like absolutely love Don't Starve Together. I think that's great. You and I have spent tons of hours on that.
Yes.
Horribly dying in horrific and hilarious ways.
If that freaking deer clops, man.
Dude,
we disabled him even, and we still get our butts kicked.
We will find a way to kill it eventually, I swear. Even if we have to hack the game. I don't know how to hack.
Yeah. Mods.
Okay.
It's like a dumb person's way to hack.
Yay! I can do that. I'm good at that.
Just install. Okay.
There's an idiot's guide somewhere out there, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so for you.
I think definitely Smash TV. I don't know why. I think that one was hilariously great at being co-op. Plus, it's just a total arcade. It doesn't matter if you die, but you guys really wanted to win. And it was hard to make it all the way through the game. It was a great co-op experience.
God, yeah, it was a great accomplishment.
I don't think I've made it to the last bloody level and lost my last credit, and I never finished the game. I've never finished it.
I think in my prime and at my best, we got to the final boss, but that damn thing's a quarter muncher. So
yeah, oh definitely.
Which don't get me started about that, because I'm gonna start talking about Metal Slug, and then we're all gonna be stuck here for hours.
Yeah, I say the Turtles was great. I Don't Starve is probably one of my favorite. Starbound is another one, because me and my wife, even in like early access when it didn't have Jack, but it just had a simple crafting system, exploring space and the monsters, we put 70 hours in early access at the very beginning. And now that it's released, I'm coming back to it, and it's a whole new experience, which is great.
Awesome.
But it's still something I'm like, I could sink hours into this. Sadly, I'm by myself, because you have a kid now, and it's harder to get time to game.
Is that a hint that I need to pick it up or something?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Okay, yeah, the winking doesn't help, by the way. He's winking if you can't figure it out.
But I would say those ones currently, the Gears of War, because the reason why I got an Xbox was Elder Scrolls. Spent months, literally months.
That's believable.
And then Gears of War. First thing getting my Xbox, I got Gears of War faceplate and all that. And me and my cousin beat the campaign over and over. And then we started playing multiplayer on split screen multiplayer online.
Chaos.
It's absolutely love. I love the idea of having, for one, split screen and also multiplayer matchmaking.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see a game like that. So we spent hours in tournaments and all that stuff with that. So I'd say that is probably one of my all-time.
So final thoughts on all this. If you guys definitely aren't into co-op or think it might be kind of fun, definitely encouraging you to do so. Find the old school games. There are ROMs and emulators, which at your own risk, of course, because God knows what people put in those things anymore. Yeah. I've been lucky enough to be able to hold on to all my old consoles, and they sit in storage, but I do break them out occasionally.
Yeah.
However, co-op is sadly not a very large possibility, because it's just I don't have the couch buddy anymore, or it's hard to get this guy over sometimes. But hey, we all got life problems. It's all good.
Yeah, life problems. And yeah, if you're younger, enjoy it now. If you're older,
take advantage of it.
Try to get that nostalgia trip. I recommend get away from just standard online. Find games that are like limited to like 4 players maximum. Not because you have Call of Duty and Battlefield, and all the FPSs are technically co-op to a sense. But really find role playing or quest driven kind of systems.
Even the Lego games work.
Yeah, it's just something that really kind of lets you bond between 2 people and really put your heads together, like platformers. I don't know is there a multiplayer or a co-op platformer?
There's tons of old school platformers, I think, that are 2-player.
Contra.
Oh God.
That one's a shooter platformer, and that was brutal as hell, but that was co-op hands down.
Yeah, you guys want to get your ass handed to you.
Contra 3, man, for the Super Nintendo. I don't care. You have to have that second person, otherwise you get
you're screwed.
Wrecked. And then even when you do, you still get wrecked. So I would find those ones where you can actually engage with another person on a deeper level than oh, I screwed your mom.
Yeah.
Loser, he stole my kill.
Oh, Mr. Dead Scott, you die a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Rainbow Six is good. Just have a mic. Rainbow Six Siege, because that's a very group tactical. It doesn't have a lot of depth, but allows you to work well with teammates. Brings cooperation together. So that's a good one if you like shooters.
And again, I'll encourage the Lego games because those are very friendly, easy, safe ways to get into co-op.
Except the Jurassic Park one.
Yeah, that glitches out on you after you spend $30 on. Sorry, a little bitter still. There's no patch.
Star Wars Legos, hands down. You can't go wrong with co-op on Star Wars Legos.
Yes,
or
beautiful,
Lego Star Wars.
Wonderful. Same thing.
Yeah.
And Legos are great too.
Yeah. Which that's a great real life cooperation build. But that does it for today, guys. Our question to you is, what I would say game today has great co-op that we didn't mention?
Oh yeah, please.
Because there's a lot of games. The market's flooded. So what game out there today do you think has a great co-op experience? And we might just try it and talk about it in the future.
Heck yeah.
But that's it. Thank you for joining us. This is Smite This and
Mr. Dead Scott.
we'll see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.